For me, everything comes from sound. Usually people who have good sounds also have good articulation, good intonation, and good facility on the instrument. Um, and vibration, sound is vibration, and it affects everything else. And so getting a good sound on the instrument is the most fundamental, of fundamental importance. So my philosophy regarding saxophone setup is that really it's all about the reed. I know that a lot of mouthpieces are made to channel certain sounds and get a brighter sound or get this kind of sound or get that kind of sound. But to me, sound really comes from the concept that you have in your head, not necessarily from the mouthpiece. And sound, the only thing that's really vibrating is the reed. So the reed is the most important thing. It's where it all starts. That's the fire of the engine, if you will. So the next important thing is the ligature mouthpiece setup. And for me, I've always used a more or less medium mouthpiece that allows me to get a lot of different sounds out of the horn. I can play dark, I can play bright, depending on how I voice things in my throat and how I hear things in my head. I'm also a big fan of metal ligatures because I feel that more than, say, ligatures that are made of cloth that sort of mute the reed, which is one reason I like the H series, because I really feel it has a really great balance between letting the reed vibrate, but at the same time, because of the way it's sort of set up where the contact points are on the reed, it also, you get the greatest possible body and darkness out of the reed, and I really love that combination. So a lot of it has to do with just getting that vibrating. And I mentioned before that my new project had some East Indian influences. And one thing that I've learned in studying East Indian music is this business of just getting inside the sound of one note. And the different colors and tones that you can get. I'm just going to play on a concert B flat and explore the different sounds that I can get out of this one note. So this is one thing that I like to practice is long tones where I'm not just playing the note, but I'm exploring the vibrations of the note, both in terms of brightness and darkness, and in terms of loud and soft. And again, as I said before, what I love about the setup in these reeds is that I have that spectrum available to me within that one note. So some other possible exercises that you can do are play other notes and hear how they sound in relationship to a fundamental. And this is also good to do if you have two tuners. Put one on a fundamental like this, and then have another one with the needle so that you can check your ear with the needle. In other words, to see if you're hearing the note in tune. For example, I'll play a fifth. I'll play a G to a D. Now D is a sharp note on the saxophone, so we have a tendency to play it sharp, so you want to work on hearing it in tune. I'll play G, D, and then G again. So what's important about doing these kind of exercises is that obviously when you're playing a lot of notes, or even when you're not playing a lot of notes, but you're playing in a different musical context, you can't think about where each note is. So what you have basically you're doing is training your muscles to remember where that note is in tune. So that when you go to play that note, you're reading a piece of music and you go to play a D, your muscles remember that when you play this fingering and you go to that note, then it's round this area that the D is in tune. And so there, and of course you're going to make adjustments depending on the situation that you're in to adjust the pitch, but at least you're going to be, your starting point is going to be a good starting point for intonation because your muscles will have good memory about that.